So this is when WCW and ECW are on the decline.
Yes.
From someone in the business at the time, even though you were still, young and starry eyed and
Super
out
young.
there,
Yes.
did you see and did you know that they were going down while they were? And if
No.
not, or even if so, what was your reaction when everything was going on? Like, how did that affect the business around you? How did it affect you?
So instantly, I didn't get it. Like, keep in mind, at Wildside, the night before Super Brawl, what was that? 10? It had to have been 10.
I
Super
think so.
Brawl 1 was 91. So whatever the last Super Brawl was, 2001, it was Jindrak and Palumbo versus O'Hare and Stasiak uh, on the pay-per-view. The night before, they're doing that match in Cornelia to work out the kinks, right? So this is February of '01. So I couldn't have, I like, even then, like nobody thought like, oh, WCW is going out of business. AJ and Paris had just signed.
Yeah.
So like not any of us ever thought like we heard the rumors that oh WCW might be up for sale, but like okay, sure, heard that before, never gonna happen. You know, everything's fine. At the same time, not too long before that tag match, Kid Cash and Jerry Lynn had come in to do a wild side shot. And they were both asking around, other guys. And I just noticed, I just overheard it, where they were asking other guys about work because they didn't think ECW was going to last long. And I was like, that can't be real. Like, no way. I was just, we're talking about two stalwarts of my life. Like,
Yeah.
0% chance. And so when the news breaks that WCW's gone and Vince had bought it and that ECW was gone, it was just, I was more shaken as a fan than I was a wrestler because I didn't even grasp, like, oh, there's so many jobs that aren't available anymore.
Yeah.
Like that didn't hit me till later. It was genuinely, as a pro wrestling fan, I was like, what the crap? Whoa, no, 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 no. Like, what am I going to do on Thursday now? I can't watch Thunder. What am I, like,
Were you an
none of this is
ECW guy, by the way?
a huge ECW
I had a
guy. But
feeling.
yeah, like I said, me and my brother fought over who got to be Sabu before we ever saw Sabu. Uh, it wasn't until I started doing the shows in California where I found out about tape trading.
Oh boy,
And I
yeah.
was like, yeah, and then I got to start getting my hands on this stuff, especially since those shows I was on. So Louie Spicolli was in and out of there.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
so so honestly, if you want to, the first name I ever met was Rad Rad, was Louis Spicolli. Uh, uh,
So underrated.
yeah, he was the best. He was super. It was just like, oh my god. But like, so like, here's a guy I would see on a Saturday in California, and then I'd get a tape, and he's giving Tommy Dreamer a Death Valley Driver, which I'd never seen before, right? It was Spicoli Driver, right? So it's just like, this guy's completely changing the game, and he used to be a body Dono. Like, he's the best of all time. Just because the new generation's my era. Like, I love the new generation. I've got a story about that coming up. Yeah, little spoiler alert for those tuning into the Hard Times pay per view this weekend. But yeah, so like it didn't even make sense to me that ECW was gone, that WCW was gone. That means these jobs were gone. It meant I don't get to watch these shows anymore. Oh no. And then it was so they both went down in March of '01. It was the summer of '01 where it kind of sunk in on me like, oh no. Like, there's nowhere to work.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Rey Mysterio doesn't have a job. How can I beat him for the cruiserweight title? Like,
It's definitely it's crazy how much the industry changed. Because, a decade prior, or maybe a little more than a decade prior, something similar happened. Not to the same extent, but, the territory is starting to dry up. And you had
Yep,
all these
yep,
places that were starting to shut down. And it was all, and then everything got really healthy. The industry was set on fire like practically never before, at least in a different
yes,
way.
yes.
And now suddenly everything was shifting again.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Just, the beauty of hindsight is when you were living it, when you were in that moment, when you were in the 96 and the 97, and WCW is on fire, and people are genuinely like, oh, I think Vince is going to go out of business. Uh, it seemed like it was forever. But in the grand scheme of things, WCW was hot for 3 years. It's just 3 years. Like that's not WCW. Turner bought it in what, 89?
Yeah.
It made it till 01. We're talking a little over a decade. That's crazy to think
Yeah.
about now.
ECW was only around
Yeah. What,
8 years, 9
93 to,
years. Yeah.
yeah. Crazy to think about how quick that is in hindsight. Because living in the moment, like I remember ordering Barely Legal and thinking ECW was about to take over the world.
Mm-hmm.
4 years later, they weren't in business.
Yeah. Austin's
It's
run, I mean,
crazy.
Austin's run on top was,
Oh,
3
exactly.
years.
Yes.
And it was one of the greatest runs of all time, but it was only
Yes.
3 years.
Yeah. It's wild. It's wild when you start putting numbers on stuff sometimes where it's just like, this doesn't seem right. But it's it's as right as it gets.